Hi, you're listening to The Dreadful Dialogue, your chilling companion for all things horror. Each episode is something new, from chilling interviews to movie deep dives. We have something for all fans of the horror genre. My name is Alyse, and if you've listened to the episode An American Werewolf in London, then you've heard our guest before. He's married to my best friend Celeste, aka Rumi. She's another past guest, and his name is Brad. Today we're going to be chatting about the 1974 masterpiece, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So how you doing, Brad?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's really cool to be on this show, and I'm their second offender, so a second time around, and I couldn't get enough. So I'd rather talk about something that's a little more involved. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, you picked a great one. People, if you are a regular fan of this podcast, they've heard me say it over and over. This is my favorite horror movie of all times. So when you said you wanted to do this one, I was like, yes. Kind of let it sit for a while because I was like, man, it's a good one. I want to do it justice, but it worked out. We're here today, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, just this movie itself will keep you involved if you like anything horror, if you like anything like that. I mean, and just some of the gruesome parts of it were pretty awesome too. So it definitely it stemmed somewhere for horror for sure.
Yeah. So tell me about, like, do you remember the first time you ever watched this movie or one of the early times?
Well, I can tell you, my mother was still alive. She was a horror movie fan as well. And the last time we spoke was American Werewolf in London. It was about the same time. I was about 9 when I actually got to see Texas Chainsaw. So that was something a little scary, but still in the same kind of years that I got to watch them both. So it was pretty something pretty good. But I remember I didn't want to go in the woods for a while after that. But where we live at, there's Lytle Creek, which isn't really considered woods, but man, they got some woods back there, and going to Running Springs, places like that, I kind of thought seconds, I don't know, man. I don't want something to happen to me up there. And you never really know, somebody could lose their stuff at any time, and you just don't have no clue. You never would know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny that you brought up, like, if those are areas in San Bernardino County, if our listeners aren't familiar, which is in SoCal. If you're going, I don't know if you ever saw that house going up on, like, Sierra, and before we had, like, the 210 freeway and all those freeways that would connect, there's this, like, random house out in the middle of nowhere, and I think it's technically Fontana. I used to call that the TCM house. I'm like, "Oh, that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
I
house,"
I
like.
I know the exact house you're talking about. Yeah, it was all big pillars and all that. It was definitely a scary looking house, and somebody lived there or not, man, I don't know. I didn't want to find out.
Yeah.
No, I know the house you're talking about.
It's just out by itself in the middle of, like, an
Yeah.
undeveloped area, and I mean, in most of that area is developed where we lived. I mean, I guess you could consider, like, the suburbs, right, where we
Right.
grew up,
Yeah.
but it's closer to a big city than, like, it's definitely not desolate, but this is just an area of undeveloped, and I think recently somebody told me, like, somebody's made it all fancy and it looks nice, and they've kinda rehabbed it, I guess,
Oh,
remodeled it, but I still would call it that, and I'm sorry whoever lives there because it's a legend in our area.
yeah, definitely. And as soon as you speak of that house, many people know, especially if you've been down that area and driven on Sierra right there and have gone up that way into the woods or into the creeks or wherever you're going, the wash or wherever. You
Yeah, the
definitely
whole.
have spotted that house or one time or another. And what is it? It's surrounded by grocery stores and all this stuff now, and like everything
Oh.
from what I understand.
Yeah. It's crazy because, yeah, now it's a little more built up, I'm sure, because all the freeway connections. But, yeah, I think the first time I don't 100% remember the first time. I know I first watched it with my cousin Casey, and this was kind of the movie that, like, I saw it and I was glued to it, and I was like, "That's it. Like, this is definitely a genre for us." I think I might have even seen the scenes from it in the have you ever seen the 1980s movie Summer School
I did. Yeah, I
with
did.
Mark
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Harmon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Mark Harmon. Yeah.
And those the 2 guys, the guy goes by Chainsaw and Dave, and they're.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Francis and Chainsaw.
and he's like, "Don't call me by my name, by
Yeah.
my birth name," or whatever, yeah. And
Yeah, and
they, like.
they did the classic, "Yeah, we're gonna do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre," and he starts the chainsaw up, and the explosion, the, blood packets fall off, and
Yeah.
the one girl from France is like, "I can't believe this is happening," and yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember that now. Yes,
Yeah,
most
they were, like,
definitely.
they were total horror nerds, and they were, like, traumatizing, like, their substitute teacher got fired, and so they traumatized the new sub, or they traumatized the sub because their regular summer school teacher, Mark Harmon, got fired, and
Yeah,
they're hardcore fans. He had let them watch the movie in the, class, which, I mean, I'm a teacher. There's no way you could
that's never gonna happen.
yeah, it was a different era, and there's a reason that's part of why he got fired. He's letting them watch and stuff, but
Yeah.
that scene stuck with me too. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. What movie is that?" So I mean, I saw, that's like the most epic scene, which we're already jumping at the end of the movie if we talk about that
Yeah.
epic scene. But I saw that, and then eventually I got to see the whole movie. And yeah, this movie blew me away. Leatherface, he's such an iconic, like, horror figure. Why do you think he's so iconic?
God, I gotta tell you, I think that first of all, to wear a leather face on your face, and at first you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know where he's getting the faces when you have no idea. But then you see how he starts carving people up, and then you kind of get an idea. But I think it really came from like to see something that scary and to have holes in it and stitches all over the place. And imagine the amount of costumes for Halloween that produced. Right. So that made it even more intimidating because now you got kids walking around with a leather face on their face, which is just a plastic face. But I think that just not knowing what was underneath that face, what that dude was going through, or how big he was in essence. I mean, that was a giant man wearing a fake face on his face and with hair. It just to me, that was terrifying. Like I wouldn't know what was under there or even what to look for. And I believe there's a part in there where he kills one of the people in there and he has to get the second one and he's shocked by his own self. Like he couldn't believe that he did that. But at that point, maybe the second time I saw it, I probably thought that I would try to see his face. But man, I don't think I could get past the face and the teeth. That was enough. Then he's licking his lips and stuff. Man, I mean that was horrifying for me, not to know what was underneath the mask. That was the scariest part for me. And golly, man, after seeing it a couple of times, I could only imagine what the dude was going through in his mind to even get stuck in a situation like that or even think that was cool. I mean, how terrifying is that to even not know what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what makes the movie so good is it's kind of the main characters kind of stick to the forefront, right? You get Franklin and Sally that's so good at being terrified of him. And I think that's what also I really liked about this movie is the actor Gunnar Hansen. I think they said he's wearing lifts to make him a little taller, but he came up with his own backstory from the research that I've done that he decided that Leatherface's character had some sort of mental health issue and that he was more scared of his victims than he was of them living
Wow.
isolated. He's in this desolate
Yeah.
area. Clearly there's mental health issues going on throughout this whole family. I'm not going
Sure,
to go too
sure.
far into it. There's a lot of, we talked a little pre-recording. There is a lot of kind of political and social themes going on throughout this. There's people who write whole dissertations about this movie, which I mean, that might shock some scholars, but there's a good cinematography and good things going on. There's like they talk about the shortage of gas. They talk about Watergate. You could talk about issues of classism with the way that Franklin is acting towards the hitchhiker. But I'm going off on a tangent here. But
Yeah.
thinking it back, that yeah, the actor Gunnar Hansen, that was how he approached it, and it makes sense how you said he looked kind of scared of himself, and the way he looks out the window, and the way he kind of screams, and even like the way the dad like belittles them all the time, like, "Oh, look what you did to the
Yeah.
door," and it's like,
You're
there was-
rotten. You're
yeah.
rotten. Keeps calling they're rotten. Yeah.
Yeah, the dad's voice is great. So there's definitely I think that's added to the character. I don't know if clearly he consciously did that. He has said that in interviews,
Yeah.
but how much of an impact it really had on the character. It took him from just being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go around and kill," to like you kind of saw some human in him in a weird way, right?
In a weird way, and that's kind of scary because you know that you can show up to any house at any time, and you have no idea what's going on in that home, and they can be human, that's okay, but as soon as they lock the doors, you have no idea, like
Yeah.
0 idea, and like he shows him having a mental situation, and you're right, he probably cared about not killing people, but at one time he might have been forced to have to do it. You would never know. But again, man, that's a scary situation to not know what somebody can or can't do. And man, I tell you, I'm not going to show up to a house like that.
Nope. Yeah, don't go. Even though it was like their family house, apparently, I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I would have came way more prepared to be showing up at the family house.
Way more prepared. Some flashlights, ones that actually work would have been
Yeah.
great, or something.
Yeah, moral of the story, if you have, like, a piece of property and you haven't checked on it, like, and it's empty, you should probably check on it because it's squatters.
Yeah, we got Zillow now. I mean, golly.
Yeah, yeah, get a property manager out there regularly, something, man. Well, let's take it back to the beginning because it's
Yeah.
interesting because this movie, it's famous for right at the beginning, they tell you based on a true story, and it's not really based on a true story. It's inspired by Ed Gein, but it's just like this much inspired by Ed Gein. And from what I understand, this is one of the first horror movies to do that. Did that affect your first time you watched it? Did you think it was actually a real movie?
Oh, I actually thought it would. I thought it was a real movie, especially when they tell you based on a true story. Right away, I'm like, oh man, somebody was actually robbing graves and then putting the bodies on top of the graves and then cutting off skin. And this was something you could definitely be terrified of just to hear in normal conversation. It's not a grace I ever want to go to. It's not a town I'm ever want to visit. That definitely was scared the crap out of me to hear that, even think about that. Of course, being a young kid, I'm sure I asked my mom what that actually meant based on a true story one time.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, I know that these things are real non-fictional things that are happening. But still, just to have that presence of telling you, based on a true story, man, that's scary when just to read it, but then watch the movie and go through it. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like this a dude threw a chainsaw running around with
Throwing
yeah,
hammers at people or throwing weapons at people. Yeah. It scared me as a kid reading that.
yeah.
Not until I became an adult and I started researching. Then like, well, we kind of lied. It wasn't exactly based. We just kind of like, there's this guy, Ed Gein, that would wear things and cut people, but like, it wasn't all of that. We just kind of threw all the rest of that in for fun. And it's funny because there's people who like, I guess Gunnar Hansen, again, the guy who played Leatherface, he said people would come up to him and be like, oh, I knew the real Leatherface. And he's like, dude, it's not real. Like
Yeah,
it's a character.
yeah.
It's totally sensationalized off of one little thing.
Yeah, I read a little research on him too. So I didn't know he was on the stilts, so that was pretty cool, man. Because he was a large man running through the woods like that, and I mean that was rather scary. And we talked about the face and just hearing about the grave robberies, and this was based on a true story. I'm just like, man, I can believe that there's grave robbers. I can believe that happens now. It happens 2 weeks after you've been put in the ground. It happens. That stuff I can believe, but man, for somebody to just take somebody out of your grave and set them on a pedestal and remove body parts, where are they going and where are they removing them to?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, golly.
So you're talking about the grave robbing scene. Did you figured out eventually who the grave robber was, right?
Oh man, and you don't know anything about it till you finally meet, and I don't want to give it away yet, the guy who was in the van with them. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. Now it was weird that the dude is walking down the road and gets picked up. All right. So that's cautious right there.
Yeah.
Right. And then by the time they get to the gas station, I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah,
That
go
dude's
ahead.
not there anymore. Right. And you don't know where he went. Like he just is done. That's it. That's the whole thing. And then bam, towards the end of the movie, he pops up again. And then you start realizing, oh my God, the whole time they were riding with the dude that's doing the stuff. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that is enough. Like, whoa, man. And nobody knows in the house because they're in the house now and they're all dead. So nobody really knows. They don't put it together until Sally sees them.
Mhm.
And he's just like, remember me kind of thing. And something like that. Or how was the ride? Something to
You
that
said you
effect.
were in a hurry.
Yeah, you said you were in a hurry. Yes,
That
that's it. That's it, right? Looks like you're not going so fast now.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not great at quoting line for line
Yeah,
perfectly.
yeah, but you're right, man. That was I didn't until I seen him, the dad pull up in the driveway and see the kid out there and he starts belittling him and telling him these types of things. I'm sure you'll come up with a question about that in a second. So I don't want to get too much away, but
Oh, go
man,
for it.
that was something else, man. Golly, that scared me just knowing that dude was just walking around doing whatever he's doing
Yeah. Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere.
there's definitely things as a kid I didn't catch those, and I say this in almost every episode because when I'm watching these movies initially, or especially if I watched them as a kid, I'm not watching them as closely as I do to prepare for the podcast.
Yeah,
And another thing that you catch later on rewatches and with age is at the beginning, the opening, they're showing you photos, right? Of like, and you think they're just showing them to be creepy, like to set the
yeah.
tone for this grimy movie. And it's like, wait a minute, that's the hitchhiker with the camera. Those are his photos because he's the grave robber and he's also part of this sadistic family going around killing things. So the whole opening of this movie is wild.
Yeah, and he likes taking pictures, and he has the Polaroid hanging from his neck, and so the guy's acting as if he's a tourist, but really it's indulged in what he's doing, so he's taking pictures so he can remember all the things that he's done because he really gets off on it. It's really something he's priding himself on.
Yeah.
He's got a way to get rid of the pictures if he doesn't like them.
We're gonna get into that right now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So a little piece of trivia before we move on to that area. The narrator at the beginning is John Larroquette. And
Oh,
and he's not a horror fan, so he's never watched the movies. And the urban legend is that he got paid with the joint to do it. This
oh,
is before he was big.
well, no, okay. Hey, he's still in college then, I'm assuming then,
I
or
guess.
still was just out and just was trying to figure things out. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Look where he is now.
Right, right, yeah, he's buddies with Tobe Hooper, the director, and that's how they got him to do the little opening part and talk about it as we get the scrolling words. But yeah, so we get told about so basically the movie is there's 5 young adults, guess, traveling. They're going to Texas because of this grave robbing. They wanna check out if grandpa's grave's been robbed, and the narrator makes sure to tell us, that Franklin and Sally, who are brother and sister, that they're kinda like our main characters to keep our eye on. So they go to the grave, they find out pop grandpa's grave didn't get robbed, whatever, and then they're like, "Hey, let's go to grandpa's old house that is there." And that's when we meet the character we were just talking about, this hitchhiker, and I found it funny when I was prepping because we did another movie with hitchhikers and we talked about all the red flags, and horror movies just still keep doing that. They just keep picking up hitchhikers.
It's a good segue to get you a bunch of money making a movie for sure.
Yeah.
Hitchhikers are scary, man. You never know. Just never know.
But what took them so long to throw him out of the vehicle? Like, when he started cutting himself up, they were cool. They weren't cool, but they were just like, "Whatever." Not until he burned the picture, like you said, did they finally like, "Alright, get out, get out."
Yeah, they portrayed themselves as just fun-loving hippies, right? The ladies reading the Cosmo or the astrology thing
Right,
about
oh,
when
yeah.
your signs are right. So to me, they were just loving hippies, right? They were on their travels to go somewhere, had a nice van. But of course, like somebody, Franklin was complaining about how hot it is. There's not enough water. He's just drenched in sweat. And finally, someone, oh, look, a hitchhiker. Well, should we pick him up? And of course, all of them were like, well, yeah, let's give him a ride. We're out here and we can give him a ride somewhere. And man, I don't know what possessed him to keep him. Just the weirdness of him going, and looking around and
Mhm.
bouncing around, his words coming out were just not comfortable words, and there's nothing about the dude that would not make my skin crawl letting him into my van. Like, there's nothing about that. So, I guess being fun-loving hippies and kinda, like, just peace to everyone and just love everyone, "Let's get this guy a ride." Man, they set themselves up for something they weren't ready for. And to just, like, be nice and he's talking to him and he's asking him questions, and they're just like, "Well, yeah," and he's doing his giddy thing, and he goes, "Oh, that's a nice knife. Let me see that knife." And I'm like, "No, don't give
Oh.
this guy the knife. I know you love people, but you don't give the strange dude a knife. You just picked him. I don't care what kind of knife it is. You just don't give him that knife." And then he uses it on the well, he cut Franklin first, right? And then he takes out his blade because Franklin wants his back. And so now they're like, whoa, now we're kind of freaked out, right? And he
Mhm.
cuts Franklin. And then Franklin's like, oh, hey, quit doing that. And what'd you do that for? Then he pulls out his blade and is like on his hand. Man, I wouldn't even, as soon as he cut Franklin, you're out the van, buddy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't even know how
Hit the
they let
brakes
that
and throw 'em.
go.
Yeah, hit the brakes and throw him out.
You're gone, man. That's it. Like, and I got to bandage this kid that's whining the whole time in the first place, And
Yeah,
golly, man, that'd be enough for me to just get that dude out of there. Honestly, me personally, I'm not going to pick up any hitchhikers.
yeah.
But if I do get one that's acting weird like that or some kind of skittish movement, you're out the door, buddy. There's just no way.
Yeah, yeah, that was a disturbing scene. There's several disturbing scenes, obviously, in this movie, but yeah, every time I watch it, I'm like, "Oh, this fool out. Why did you guys let him stick around?" And then,
Yeah.
yeah, he takes the photo, and then you talked about he's got a creative way to get rid of the photo that they don't wanna buy, which maybe that could have been their segue. Maybe they could have just given his money, be like, "Alright, dude, it's nice knowing you. Have a good one. Get out."
That would have been perfect. Then you would have avoided the whole cut scene. Nobody would have got hurt. Give the guy the two. What did he want? $2 for the film, or
$2, yeah.
$2? Like, give me $2 for the picture. Give him the $2. Send him on his way. And I understand the '70s. That's a lot of money.
True.
$2. I get it.
Yeah.
That's a gas tank for nowadays. Not nowadays, but
Like
then.
then, for sure.
Yeah, and I can understand not wanting to give up the money for a picture they didn't want. He didn't ask him to take the picture. Celeste and I were in Africa one time. Well, the one time we went, and a dude walks up and takes our picture, and he wants $5. If it wasn't because we were with the tour guide, that dude could have beat us up and took all of our money because he
Mhm.
was serious about his money for his photo, even though we never asked for it. So we ran into something like that before, and I was thinking to myself, "That's TCM, dude. We can't talk to this guy. There's no way." I said, come on, so let's just get out of here."
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but man, the guy said he was gonna, as soon as he wanted money, I got him out too. Like, no, we didn't ask for you to take that picture. And he's like, okay, that's just kind of different, man.
And
And
then he's just like, "I'm just gonna burn it."
yeah, and he takes
What
out
if
some
you just
aluminum
burn it?
foil. Yeah, he takes out aluminum foil. He's got his own phosphorus and gunpowder he brings with him. He puts in aluminum foil, gunpowder, lights it, and burns the picture up. And of course, Like, what the hell? Whoa, there's some kind of black magic going on, and they burn a picture. And I think they knew at that point they were shit out of luck. I think
Yeah.
they pretty much figured something out right there. Like, this guy is seriously crazy. We made a bad mistake. How do we get this guy out of the van now? I think that's what going through their heads immediately.
Yeah. I mean, on top of, like, he was talking to them about head cheese and
That's
working
good.
working at working at the what do you call it?
The
The place where they the
slaughterhouse.
slaughterhouse. I'm all the place where
Yeah.
they put your animal at the slaughterhouse. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, no." I had to say that all butchers the
And he
way
was getting off on it. Yeah, he
when
was
you're
like,
a
well, they don't
lawyer
kill him
doing
like that no more. Now they just, this is what they do. And then you watch him die. And I was like, oh my God, dude.
yeah, I was like, "This is not the conversation I'm trying
Yeah.
to have." We're just trying to read our horoscopes and maybe
That,
smoke a
it,
joint, like you said. This is definitely a hippie era. Yeah.
it was pretty interesting just to know that not only did he have a knife, but he had ways to burn a picture, and he had the pouch. What was the pouch? Or was it some kind of old, I mean, some type of scrotum sack or something like
I
that?
don't know
That
if it was a squirrel.
it, it weird, man. I was like, golly, that would have been, it's definitely hippie stuff for sure. You know, nobody
Yeah.
other than I know hippies that carry squirrel sacks around.
I'm gonna ask my parents. Are you listening? Who carried around the squirrel sacks? And what was in 'em? I would have thought he just had a little bit of dope in there and call it a day.
That's what they was gonna pull out and roll a joint, you know, like, okay,
Yeah.
fine. Since
Thanks
you're in
for
a
the
rush, let's get.
ride. Yeah. Hey, my way to thank you for the ride. I heard that's one of the
Yeah,
ways that hitchhikers thank them.
yeah, thanks. Hey, man, well, that's be one way I would accept it. Like, cool, man. Where are you going? 5 more miles, all right? You gotta go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so they get rid of the hitchhiker, and I wanna talk about Franklin, and I know I didn't put this on some of our pre-stuff. Franklin is an odd guy. I love and hate him all at the same time. He's kind of annoying. I understand it's hot, and they said the whole
Yeah,
cast was miserable because they actually did film this in the summer in Texas, and it was very low budget, so they were wearing the same outfits over and over because they didn't wanna wash them and, like, the coloring to look different. It wasn't like a big production where they could have multiple outfits. They could have 10 of the same outfit or whatever, and, I don't know, I think I what did you think about Franklin? Because I got thoughts on him.
man. So honestly, I think Franklin was the brains of the outfit. Honestly, that dude was like, "Don't go there. We shouldn't do that. We should all go together." Sally screaming, "We got to go find Kirk and the other lady, the other girl's name. We got to go find him." He's like, "No, wait for him to come back here." And then he even told the one dude who went to go look for him, "Hey, you shouldn't go down there unless we all go together." He's like, "Well, I'll be right back. It shouldn't take too long." So honestly, no matter how much bitching and complaining that dude was the brains of the outfit. If they would have kind of listened to him, might have had a better chance of getting out of there. And for him to say, "Well, now you're gonna have to push me with my wheelchair," that would have been my first sign to say, "Okay, we're not going then." Like, I'm not gonna push a 250-pound man in a wheelchair through the woods.
Yeah,
Like, no, who does that?
yeah.
Sally is like, "I got this. I'll knock it out." Well, was her cousin, right? Or her brother or
I think
cousin?
it's your brother.
It's her brother. Okay. So I'm just like, man, I just wouldn't do anything like that. That to me was just terrifying. Like, and he was right. He was like, "Man, let's just stay here and maybe we can get a hold of somebody. Well, we got enough gas to leave and we can get to at least the gas station in the morning, stay here in the van for the night." I mean, he was trying to be the right guy and got shot down for all those things.
Yeah, I think you nailed it without us even having this as a prep question or anything. I felt the same way. I think they made him annoying on purpose because we needed to ignore that he was the one saying, "Hey, let's not do this. Hey, let's not do that." And it's not to excuse his behavior. I mean, he was annoying, but I think part of it was I mean, imagine living in the '70s and being a person in a wheelchair. I mean, it's not like now, right? We got all these ADA laws and
Yeah,
I
right,
mean, they
right.
had to, like, set up boards to get him out. He was
Yeah.
constantly stuck, like, everybody runs to the house and has fun. He's like, "Fine," and yeah, he acts like a
Ah,
kid and, like, does raspberries, and I don't even know if he's imitating the hitchhiker when he's doing that, I don't know. But there's definitely something about that. I feel like he was written that way for us to kinda like, "Oh, he's so annoying," like but he'd
he
been ignored so much that he acted that way, I think, right? And again,
Yeah,
not to
right.
excuse it, but it's like, man, trying to put myself in his shoes, I'm like, I would kinda suck, like
Well, he was like the voice of reason that got excluded out of everything that was gonna be fun because he was in a wheelchair.
mm,
So nobody's gonna listen to him. Nobody's gonna take his advice. It's hard nowadays. You hear people complaining all the time. You're not gonna listen to them. I mean, even now we still run that way. And how many horror
mhm,
movies have you seen before where the voice of reason usually is always right, but is usually the third or fourth person to go? You
yeah.
know, because their voice of reason is strong enough to keep them alive and not do what the other people are doing. But since he was in a wheelchair, he just had no legs to stand on. Sorry about
Yeah.
that, but
No, it's okay. It's unfortunately, it's true. It's okay. We're allowed to laugh on this podcast and make it proper jokes, but I didn't.
yeah, yeah.
It's not improper.
Yeah, I just think that he was the voice of reason, and he was treated unfairly due to his treatment to everybody else at the same time. He was hot, he was smoldering, and decided he was kicked. I mean, even when they're running around in the house, they went to go visit. Everybody's going upstairs, hanging out, playing grab ass, having a little flirting thing going on, and he was left out to dry.
Yeah, and he even
Right.
says that, "Come on the trip, Sally." You know, Sally says it'll be fun, and he's like upset. And I'm like, and I thought about, it, I'm like, yeah, he's pretty excluded. And top of like, he got pee on himself. Remember, like the van, some vehicle drove by when he,
Yeah,
and they just give him,
yeah,
yeah, they
yeah.
just give him a can and roll him down the hill. They're like, here, go pee, dude. I'm like, man, that would suck. Like, I mean, we've all had to pee on the side of the road on a road trip. But the poor guy had no dignity with it either.
Yeah, and no pretty litter to clump up or nothing, man. It's just swirling around in the can. That's
Oh my gosh, that's a great one, that's great. Oh, man. Yeah, so they go to the house, right, and they all go in, and this is where people start to die off, and this is where we see Leatherface for the first time, and I and we get to see what's great too is he's got different masks. I'm not gonna go in too much into his masks. They'll shout out if you wanna listen to, one of our previous episodes. I actually interviewed a cosplayer known as SoCal Leatherface, and he gives some great details on the 3 masks that Leatherface wears. But, we get our first death with a sledgehammer,
yeah,
which
right to the head.
again yeah, and you don't think about that again, like, the title is so epic, and I love that the title is not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
Yeah.
the chainsaw doesn't make an appearance till later.
That's right. Doesn't even start until he starts cutting up the dude. The third dude is when the actual chainsaw comes out, I believe.
Yeah, I
Because
think
he
Franklin
with Franklin is when the
yeah,
chainsaw came out, right? Because he
yeah,
hit the dude with a sledgehammer. He put the chick on the hook,
yeah,
right? And then throws her in the freezer. Then the third dude shows up. I can't remember his name.
I think it's
He showed
Jerry, I think he gets a sledgehammer too, right?
Yeah, he got the sledgehammer as well, and then if finally we get to Franklin, that's when the actual chainsaw came out, and I mean, just to drive it in somebody like that, and he's in his wheelchair when it happens, like, he had nowhere to escape, there was no going anywhere, and
Yeah,
his sister Sally had to watch the whole thing, and she couldn't do anything. She
yeah.
actually pushed him into the dinner meal. He was like Meals on Wheels.
Oh my god, you know you were okay, you were planning that one, right? Or you're just witty like that, man. You too bad, I
No,
love
I'm pretty witty like that sometimes. I can't just plot everything out, but I get a
you was
couple in
doing
there. How about a wing, Henry?
oh god, and then what's funny, here's another rewatch. Thinking of going back to earlier, rewatchable moments. When they had stopped at a gas station in between the cemetery and showing up to this house, and they go to the gas station and they get barbecue. Well,
Yeah.
you realize later the barbecue's probably humans, and
It was humans.
he's got
Yeah.
one he's using one like it's like a cigar almost. He's got the
Well,
sausage.
the salt you see out of his mouth. I'm like, dude, do you really know what that is? Maybe. I mean, come on, dude. Like, serious. And the old man says it's won several awards throughout Texas. We have the best chili in all of Texas. Man, I bet it's meaty.
What makes me think of you got another great movie that I still need to cover, Motel Hell. Have you ever seen Motel Hell?
I haven't seen that. No.
Oh, you should watch Motel Hell. It's kinda like a cheesy knockoff of Texas. It's got some
Oh,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired vibes,
yeah.
and they're saying is it takes a lot of fritters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters, and I'll leave it at that. You can watch it because I don't wanna ruin the movie. It's a fun watch. It's one of those B movies that I say you just crack a beer open or you smoke a little, whatever
Right.
you like to imbibe or smoke, and
Right.
just watch it for the silliness because there's no great story.
That's okay, man. Some of those ones they're the most like entertaining, man. I really dig some of those B ones, man. They're entertaining.
Yeah, and
Pretty fun.
this movie, it had the potential to I think this movie really could have been just a B movie.
Yeah.
I think Gunnar Hansen upped it. I think the lady who played Sally, Marilyn Burns, her, like, screams, like, her screams are terrifying to me.
Oh, they're curdly, and I think the budget was like they had 30 grand and ended up banking like 35 million. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, 30 grand on something like that. Like you said, her screams were definitely, I mean, they were curdling.
Yeah.
Like if anybody didn't hear it throughout the slaughterhouse or all of Texas, I don't know what they were missing because they were definitely, and to see her face and the blood kind of on her face and her hair
Mhm.
like this, she just, dude, that's scary. I mean,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Yeah, I think that's what made it more it added to that grittiness, it added to the realness of it, and interestingly, the movie doesn't really have music in it. Like the whole time, it's just sounds and like insects.
Buzzing crickets and locusts. I mean,
Mhm.
there's all this stuff going on, and then the gas powered generators in the back of a house over there. Like, I mean, come on, clue A to clue B. Let's. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's hot out here. The bugs are out. They're slapping their neck. They didn't have spray, but you can tell they got the bugs all over them. And I mean, those are eerie noises, no matter what. It's like walking into a dark house and hearing the door creak, and you never even open the door. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, that's noises that I'm just not very interested in hearing. Those are definitely and I've been somewhere, a couple places in California towards Calexico, where we've been fishing down there, and all we have is the dark, the water, and all the noises.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I don't know what it is out there buzzing, but I definitely don't want to find out the hard way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I definitely want to find out then.
Yeah. Those remote areas. Yeah, I think that's another thing when people want to argue why this movie is so good and people argue for it being such a great masterpiece, even just besides within the horror genre. These are all little things that other movies weren't doing. And I think that made it unique.
Yeah. Yeah, that's putting a lot of them started doing it. Even though the remakes of this started putting in CG and adding music to them, the people are running. There's a fast drum beat, and all I hear is when Sally's running is the woods cracking.
Yeah.
You know, tree branches breaking.
Yeah.
That's all I'm hearing. And then I hear the chainsaw revving up. And one minute he's far away, the next minute he's right on top of her. But she never even left the property running in the woods as she did. She never even left the property. She was just going around in a circle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's scary enough. And there's no lights telling you anything. She was basically using the moonlight to even try to run. But again, look back behind her and still try to run and not run into something else. And she gets smacked by a branch, I believe, and runs right into one. It just
Yeah.
knocks her smooth out. And here he is right on top of her now all of a sudden. So that was something, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy the different techniques that they're using with the sound. Again, hearing her screams, just hearing the chainsaw.
Yeah.
But so we're getting back into the story a little bit. So basically, yeah, we lose some of the young people, and Sally, she manages to escape. She goes to the gas station, and that's where the whole story kind of comes together, right? We realize the guy at the gas station is the dad of Leatherface.
Yep.
That's when we run into the hitchhiker because he basically, what is he? I can't remember. Does he knock her out or he hits her with the broom?
Yeah,
Right?
he hits her with he starts antagonizing her with the broom, then he hits her with the stick at the end, and he's trying to antagonize her with the broom, like, get back, get back, get back. And he's really picking on her, belittling her, and making her feel like she's definitely not safe anymore. I mean, you're hitting me with a broom, there's something going on. We're definitely not safe. I think he hits her with a stick or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it
Gets her in
was.
a potato sack and he takes her back to the house.
Right, right.
And then that's where we get the epic dinner scene, which we already met Grandpa earlier, right? She kind of stumbled on him and asked for help from him at one point.
Yeah.
But that's when that's when they roll Grandpa out. And that's
Yeah.
also when Leatherface has a little bit of an outfit change, right? He kind of like domestic Leatherface. It's weird. He's wearing the apron. This is when Dad is belittling the sons, and we find out the hitchhiker's one of the sons and gets on him about grave robbing and you're supposed to stay home with your brother, referring to Leatherface, and where are the other kids at? And Leatherface is mumbling, saying, "Oh, I got one in here in the freezer, and this and that." And that's when we get the dinner scene. Okay, that's what I'm getting to with Grandpa.
Right.
This scene is gross, man. It's disturbing.
What? That's super weird. It was like, go up and get your grandpa. And she'd already saw Grandpa. You said, we already saw Grandpa. Grandpa ain't moving from where Grandpa was. Like, I don't care what you've seen before. That dude was a straight corpse.
Yeah,
Sat in that wheelchair and he was a corpse. Well, it was a wheeling chair. It wasn't a wheelchair. And he's just a corpse. And you can already tell his face is sagging. He's been dead for 20 years. The way you look at him, like he's been rotting in there.
I don't know. I think he's kind of alive though. I think he's he on
You
death's
think
door.
so?
I always got the vibe he was on death's door. The way they're like trying to, because he's trying to kill. Like they're like, Daddy, where Grandpa was the best killer, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get him to kind of kill her, but he's so weak sauce and old. So I don't know if he dead. I don't know.
You know, I
Got
think
me
like
wondering.
the way that she saw him first, I thought he was dead, like sitting there, like his eyes didn't move. He was kind of like catatonic, if you will, just kind of laying there. And I think it was Grandma that was definitely a corpse.
Oh yeah, she
All
was
her
a
bones
corpse.
were,
Yeah,
yeah, his bones were hanging out, things like that. But I didn't realize Grandpa was alive until they actually brought him down. They're carrying him down to set him up at the dinner table to go through this and hear the dad say, Grandpa used to be the best killer in all of Texas. Watch this. When they get it all set up and
He does kind of suck on her blood a little bit, right? So
They gave him a little, yeah, they cut her hand,
it's
right?
almost like it's almost like he's a vampire and he's getting his little fix or something. I don't know.
That's what was keeping him alive, I guess, is that little, just mainline me right to the mouth here and give me some blood. Let's get it
Yeah.
on.
But that whole scene is, and then I'd never noticed this, and this is a rewatch thing I hadn't caught until like 2 watches ago, and I've seen this movie a ton. When they tie Sally up to a chair, I never realized they tied her arms behind her back, but the chair has arms.
Oh,
They're not her
right.
arms.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you're
Right?
absolutely right.
I
Yeah,
never
there were
noticed.
arms just
Just
sitting
never
there.
even
Yes.
it's just gone over my head all
Oh,
these
man. I had
years.
to think about it again because I just watched it again like last week or 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. I had to think about it again. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Her hands are behind, but the arms are right here, and they're all decrepit
They're
arms.
like somebody's
Like,
there's somebody else's arms. It's an
yeah,
armchair.
they look all like, and they're sitting here on the chair. Yeah, it's an armchair. Yes.
I'm on that game now too.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
That's almost a double standard now.
Yeah. But so she manages to escape, and I don't even remember what she doesn't manage. It's funny. You go watch a movie 1,000 times and then you like start
She
to forget
she
details.
jumped out of the window, right? Did she jump out of the
Oh, that's
window?
right. She jumped out of a window twice. This is the second time she
Twice.
jumped
That's the
out of the
second
window. Yeah.
time. Yeah,
And she escaped and ran to the gas station. Okay,
that's
that's
right.
right. So she
And then
gets
she
out
got
of the
out the
window.
second time. Yeah, this time she hurt her femur or something with her leg, right? She got
Yeah.
something or cut her leg really bad, and now she's got this horrible limp and she needs to run again. And man, just to go back to your question, like having grandpa have the energy to even try to hold the hammer in his hand, and you can tell that he's trying to do it, and they keep giving it back to him, but he just doesn't have enough gumption to get it done. And so finally, the little brother gives him a little help. And next thing, a little bit of blood's coming out of her head, and they think they got her. They think that it's good to go now. Man, that was woo.
Well, what's crazy is we don't even see blood until Franklin's death. We don't see a lot of the actual killing on screen, and
Yeah.
yet this is rated as like one of the scariest movies, and like it's something I definitely like. My friends who think I'm weird for being into these movies, they'll ask me like, "Oh, can I watch this movie? Can I watch this movie?" I'm like, "No, don't watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre." Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "It's really not that scary. It's more eerie and creepy." And yeah, there's not a lot of blood until Franklin and Sally.
Yeah, I told Celeste the same thing. I said, this isn't really like gory scary. This is more like psychological scary. Like if you look at the characters, where they
Mhm.
start, what they're doing, what each one goes through, because each one goes through a whole scary thing. One, not Sally, but the other chick, she runs into the front room, or the dining room, and there's
Yeah.
bones and hair and skulls. And dude, that's psychological fear right there because she doesn't know, and she knows she's going to be one of those coming up. She didn't know that that was going to happen, what happened to her. But if I fall in a room with skulls and bones and arms hanging on the wall, dude, I'd be terrified. So
Yeah.
psychologically, that would get me before somebody stabbed me or something like that. Like I would be terrified,
Yeah.
like
And
trying to get out the front door, trying to get right back out.
yeah, and that's all the Ed Gein inspiration because I guess when I've read a book about him when they went to his home, that's what they found was his character not only inspired Leatherface, I think he inspired Buffalo Bill from
Buffalo,
oh my god,
Silence
Silence
of the
of the
Lambs.
Lambs,
Mhm.
and there's another one he inspired. It'll come to me. But he's inspired a couple of different characters where they
Yeah,
use a similar sort of concept of wearing the skin and using them for decorative items. And yeah, they
yeah.
said that he had like lamps and things of skin. And yeah, Ed Gein was we're not gonna go into this isn't a true crime podcast. We won't go into that.
Just leave that. That
But
guy's
yeah,
something else. But yeah,
I think you nailed it with it's more psychological and the imagery is it's scary. I think just the whole vibes. You can feel the Texas heat. I'm not from the
yeah,
South. You live in the South now, and
yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it. I went to boot camp in the South, and I acclimated. I was a lot younger. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, when I go to visit, I'm like, I can't do this.
Well, I mean, I can tell you these last 2 weeks have been dreadful. I've just stand outside coaching Logan. I'm standing there, not even doing anything, and I'm going through shirts and shorts. I'm
Yeah,
soaked when I get in the truck. Like I have to bring an extra shirt. So the humidity is really, really, really something. And to see those guys wearing pants and the chicks are wearing shorts, jeans of all things they're wearing, man, that's just stagnant energy going nowhere. That's really bad things happening.
it
Um,
adds to it. To the scariness of it because you're like
Most
already
definitely.
miserable, you feel
Yeah.
miserable, then you're dealing with this whole like family and all their stuff and you pointed out the family that you said they all had things going on. We surprisingly in that dinner scene we get like a whole little like backstory, slight in like dynamics of the whole family, right? We hear how grandpa was the
Yeah,
badass
yeah.
killer, and the dad doesn't kill them. He's just the cook.
He's just a cook, right? And then
Yeah.
the young kid, the grave robber, he's going off and saying, "I don't listen to you. You're just the cook. Remember,
Mhm.
you just cook here. Don't tell me what to do." And poor Leatherface, as big as he is, he's just in the background hoping he doesn't get picked on or get hit. And I
Mhm.
mean, he's psychologically terrified of the cook. Like the cook is just walking
Yes.
around slapping him and
Yeah.
hitting him, and he's just terrified of him. But yeah, he's the one that does the killing. He knows he can kill anybody at any time, but still, he really keeps that psychological fear that they wanted us to see and feel. Because honestly, I don't even get scared with blood and guts anymore. To me, that does nothing for me. I can watch that all day. But to see that the psychologicalness of, in one part when he kills, I think the second or third person, he sits down, he's shaking his head like, "Oh my God, what did I do? What did I
Yeah.
do?" So
Yeah.
there's some type of inner human that's still there without it totally lost everything. So I mean, that to me is like he knows he did wrong, but he can't stop. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't know how to
He
quit
doesn't
that,
know
you
any
know?
better almost.
And he knows that if he doesn't do it, then the cook will come here and beat him some more, basically, is how I looked at it. Like he just got to keep going or he'll get beaten or he'll be next dinner.
Yeah.
He's just terrifying.
Yeah. Well, when we get to the end, so so we said she jumped out the window, she takes off running, and a truck driver shows up, and this truck driver jumps. He opens up the truck, right? Lets her jump in. He even grabs a wrench. He manages to throw the wrench at Leatherface, and the truck driver runs off into the woods, never to be seen again. I always
Gone.
wondered what happened to him.
Man, gone. I don't know where he was going. Did he feel like he needed to go back to the house to call some help or what was going on here? And he hit Leatherface, and that's when he came down and cut himself, right? And
Mhm.
then never saw the truck driver again after that. You're right. He was the dude wearing the big yellow white beater, right? Or the
Like a orangish, I think, shirt.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those mysteries. I always thought that like if some Hollywood writer out there or somebody should write like what happened to him. Like they could make a whole movie. All the
That's a
reboots
great
and
question.
remakes and prequels and sequels. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a whole podcast to talk about those. We're not gonna really, I don't think we'll go into those. But yeah, I was
Yep.
wondering what happened to him.
That's a great question. I don't even know what happened to him after that. As soon as I seen him cut his leg, you didn't see him anymore after that. He's totally
Yeah.
gone. Maybe just to add in to bring the movie down. I don't know, man. That's a great question.
Yeah, and then this is where we get our epic scene of yeah, like you said, Leatherface accidentally cuts his leg, and from what I understand, the actor had some sort of, like, metal piece to help him so he, because I guess there really was a blade in these things, like, this is how bad poor budgeting it was. There was really blades in the chainsaw, so he doesn't quite cut his leg, but I guess he hits, like, a heat plate or like, he hits that metal and it heated up his leg, so when he screams, he's screaming because his leg is burning.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
thought he
yeah.
like seriously severed some stuff right there and got through some good skin right there.
Yeah, and then another vehicle, like a pickup truck shows up. Sally hops in the back of the pickup truck. She's screaming, she's full of blood. She's kinda laughing as, like, a sense of relief when,
Yeah.
Leatherface is mad, and so that's when we get the beautiful, iconic.
The iconic dance, the
Yeah.
dance of the saw, man. That's something else. And she starts laughing, but the only one in the right mind in that movie is probably the truck driver at the end. Like he knows this dude's chasing me. I need to speed up and go.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, hey, let's see what he wants. So is he offering cookies or something? Like, what's he doing? Is he on a tree trimming service? He's got
Yeah.
the big rig here, you know.
Couple trees as he was shooting Sally. Oh, wait, I missed the spot.
Yeah.
I already did that. The actor did that to slow himself down because he'd been working out and like training to be able to run with like these lifts in his shoes and everything. So this guy took the role seriously that he was like, "Oh crap, I'm catching up too quick." So that was kind of like as a way to like, "Oh, let me slow myself down a little
Okay,
bit."
man. That's pretty interesting.
I just thought it made it more funny, you know. Oh, that's the
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Dad's gonna get me.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. But that scene is beautiful. The sunlight behind it. It's great cinematography.
Is it driving off into the sunset living? Is
There
that what
you
we're
go.
doing? Yeah,
Uh,
dang. After a night like that, I'd be happy too. And you're right, the blood soaked on her face and the hair on her face, and she just like laughed crying, you know. I mean, that's very iconic. And man, what a way to end your night. I mean, golly.
Yeah, I loved her as a final girl. Sally, did you root for her?
I was picking Sally the whole time. I thought that Franklin would go a little bit further because he was in his right mind. But Sally was, man, jumped out of a window twice, got hit in the head over by an old man, put in a
Mm-hmm.
knapsack, driven back to. Now had to have the hammer hit on her head to try to drain some blood to feed grandpa. This girl had it given to her. Like she had no idea getting in that van, going on a family drive was going to be like this for her. None whatsoever. You think about that, man, that's just terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Now we nowadays, I'm not going to just show up to some house and do those types of things. Like I'm just not going to do that. I'd rather drive in suburbia first and find somebody. There's some desolate place out there, or even try to do something like that. But man, the terror was on Sally. She played the character very well. She was scared the whole time. I didn't see her give up on being feared at all. Like she was feared the whole time.
Yeah.
Her fear, she was being fearing. I'm saying that right.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one terrified. I think without Sally, I don't know how you could have kept that movie together without her doing and going through those parts as she did. Since she had this low budget, she jumps out of a window twice. It's the same window. Or wasn't it? I'm not
I
for
don't think.
sure.
I think the first time she might have been upstairs. I think,
And
and
it
then the
was
second time
daylight, right? And it was daylight the first time,
I
and it
think
was
it was like
nighttime the
daylight, and
second.
then I guess she was like knocked out. But that's what always confused me. Like the timeline seems kind of weird because I'm like, it seems like it's day, and then it goes into the night. But then I'm like, is it actually night? Like,
Yeah.
is it just dark? I don't know. I'd have to do another. Again, you watch it, and just details get muddied on you. But it was a rough day or a whole night, whatever it was. It was rough.
Yeah, that was rough on her. And I think that she held that movie pretty good together. And I don't know if you were to hire some fancy actor or not, or somebody who wanted a lot of money, who would have been able to do that the way that she did. Like, I
Yeah.
think the cast was just how they wanted it to be. And you figure you get nobodies. If you get nobodies who can do this movie and make it like it was, number one, your costs are down. But
Yeah.
they understand the realism of what can actually happen. Like, if I was to watch a real actor do it, they would act out the part.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it's acting. What I mean by that is that these people weren't trained professional actors. They were just people who did some school, maybe did some drama class, things like that, and got picked for this movie. And man,
Yeah.
played it out. You
Yeah.
watch the new
They weren't
ones.
superstars. Yeah. Yeah.
No, you watch the new ones with McConaughey. I'm not scared of McConaughey.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Rob Zombie did a great job, but I'm just not scared of Rob Zombie. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not scared of what those movies are
Yeah.
gonna play on. I'm just not scared of those. But to see something that was a low cost, and to see what they did and how they were doing, to find out they were cannibals and eating stuff. I mean, eating people. That's something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so Sally being the final girl. We'd had final girls before this, but she's kind of the iconic. She's earned that title as the first
Mhm.
final girl because that term was coined from a writer, Carol G. Clover. She wrote a book, Men, Women, and Chainsaws, and she used that and she used Sally as a reference point. It's great. I thought she was a phenomenal final girl. We still use that term final girl even in present day movies.
Yep.
And again, her and Gunnar Hansen, again, her name is Marilyn Burns. They nailed it. I don't know if you're a fan of the Terrifier films.
I've never seen them.
Yeah, those are definitely super gory, and they have the potential. If you were to watch it, like the storylines are kind of weak. They're kind of weird. It's overly gory, entertainingly for me. But the main actor who plays Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, he nailed that part, and it made you really enjoy the movie because of his mannerisms and the way he played the part. And he was a mime. He used to be a mime, or he does miming, so that's how he's able to play this character that doesn't talk. And it's the same with Leatherface. He doesn't talk. He mumbles a little bit. He's incoherent. The words that he's saying, you can't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
But yet you felt really like you were in his. You could get where he was going. And that's just like a modern day analogy that I made watching it. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Like the Terrifier franchise is super popular right now. There's a lot of people who really love those movies. And if you're not a horror fan, you're not going to like them at all. Like I'm going to tell somebody, don't even watch them. You're just going to think it's straight gore, but it's like, no, watch it and look at this main character. Like
Yeah.
sells this part of this psychotic character. That's what this guy did. He really sold the part. I mean, there's tons of remakes. There's tons of prequel, sequel type reboot things. And not all of them sell it, but this first one definitely sold it for me. So let's ask some fun questions.
Yeah. What you got?
All right. So if The Hitchhiker had a Yelp review for the van ride, what would it say? Yeah, if you could Yelp hitchhikers,
I would say he'd be the ride for the cut above the rest.
also available for family portrait.
We can stop anywhere, get a slice.
Oh man, that's a good one. It's way better than mine about the family photos. Okay. Do you think Do you think that he was celebrating at the end when he was dancing, Leatherface?
You know what? I think he was celebrating. I think that was his celebratory mark on like, I don't know what just happened. Maybe I'm free. Everybody's gone. Everybody's dead. Grandpa, kid, everybody's gone. Maybe he's free. Maybe he can just continue on. You know what I was really confused about is I don't remember what happened to the dad.
They don't really tell us. They just kind of they're all busy having their family shenanigans, arguing with each other. That's kind of how she's able to get away. So we don't really know. You can watch without spoiling it. You can watch some of the sequels, and some of the characters are still around. I don't know if he was celebrating. I think he was just like, well, another day, another few kills. So one got
Sure,
away, but
sure,
I'm not
yeah,
3 out of 4.
yeah.
Or 4 out of 5. Sorry, right?
Yeah,
4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
well, he's got food. Maybe he's celebrating because he's got food in the freezer now and he's happy and it's not deer or elk this time. He's got
Yeah,
something else in there.
yeah, and he's got fresh corpses for them.
Right, right. I got a
Yeah,
finger to gnaw on later.
yeah, and they said that again. I read reading some of the production stuff that in the script he was just supposed to like stomp on the ground, and that was it. And Gunnar Hansen was like, I can't show emotion just stomping on the ground, and that he was just like, I'm just gonna do this
Yeah,
little move right here, and
yeah,
I mean I don't think it was called the dance. Us as fans have just perpetuated calling it the chainsaw dance or the seesaw
yeah.
dance, and I love it.
That's what I heard it called several times, the seesaw dance.
Would you recommend somebody to watch this movie? Why or why not? If they've
Yeah,
never
so
seen it.
I personally would only recommend people that like horror movies. You
Okay.
know, only because it's genuine in its art form. Like it created a whole different horror that extended so many other movies after that. I mean,
Mhm.
then you had the zombies that came after that, right? So you had these zombies, you had all the zombie movies that were terrifying and watching people eat people, cannibalism, which
Mhm.
can stem from Texas Chainsaw. But I would want them to know that it's not a gory movie, it's psychological. So if you're into a psychological fear, yes, I would say watch this movie.
Yeah.
If you're into just watching blood and guts, this ain't a scary movie like that. But there is some parts in it where you can actually feel like a chainsaw could go into somebody and cut them up. Like you could use your mind that way and see that actually happen. There's accidents that happen all the time with chainsaws. The
Mhm.
guy working and it cuts a limb and it goes and hits his toe. Toe's
Destination.
gone. Final destination, exactly. So chainsaws have been in horror movies for forever, you know,
Yeah.
and I would really say that if you're into psychological horror, this would be one of the top 3 that I would definitely, put in there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good one. It's definitely inspired. I know you brought up Rob Zombie. I mean, you could see pieces of inspiration in it when you watch like House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah.
A
You
lot
know,
of
the hiding, the cannibalism, the putting them in freezers. I mean, putting the people on hooks. I mean, we've seen several movies where people have been hooked on hooks when they're walking through, or yeah, meat hooks is basically it. Like he had his own slaughterhouse there, and I just. I think that a movie when it had a little bit more budget and went into like them actually cutting one of the people up and watching them cook them and eat them, I think that would be a little bit more terrifying because now you see they actually did it. They actually are doing it. You know, I think that would really be more terrifying if they added that part in or not. But still, nonetheless, I've been scared of that movie every time I watch it. I get a different fear. And like you said, you pick up something new every time. Just this last time, I didn't even know until I watched it 2 weeks ago that it was the brother that was the dude doing the grave robberies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until the dad said, I told you to quit doing those graves like that. And he was like, brother, but I'm having fun and I like it. I'm like, oh, golly, dude. Like, I do not want somebody hanging out with me like that whatsoever. I mean, just to think of somebody like that is terrifying.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's what makes the movie so good is that there's a lot of horror movies I watch that are like I said, they're just purely silly entertainment, but there's a lot to this. There's a backstory, there's family dynamics,
yeah,
there's a little bit of social commentary,
yeah.
there's rewatchability with catching these different details for being a quote unquote low budget B movie. It achieves a lot in a short in it's only like a 80-minute movie. I don't think it's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, it's not.
Um,
It's only 80 minutes. Yeah, it's
yeah, I
pretty
mean
short.
I you could definitely get away with using this in, like, film school or something just to show that even not just for the horror vibes of it. Yeah, so it's a classic. Hopefully, we did a good job on it. I mean, there's a million podcasts out there about this movie, but, I enjoyed it, so it was really cool having you on again, Brad.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed talking about it. It's one of my favorites. Like I'll watch it again. I may be 60 or 70 when I watch it again, but I definitely, if I ever wanted to get hyped up again for something horror and relive that horror genre, I would definitely watch it again. And thank you for having me. I appreciate the time you have and finding this time to do this. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I always appreciate my guests. Without our guests coming on, we definitely wouldn't have any interviews or all these fun things to chat about. So with that, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode on the 1974, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We hope our conversation wasn't too dreadful for you guys. And with that, have a good one.